Good old Flaps here, and I'm going to show a replay of a run through I just did on this custom Syria map, where I recreated as best I could the Syrian Air Defense Network from 2009. There is a substantial number of SAM sites. I think I laid over 200. I could be off on that number, kind of went a little overboard. So I'm going to be flying the length of Syria, trying to evade these SAMs as they throw everything they can at me. I have no armament beyond just the guns. I didn't think to really even take those out. And I have 3 fuel tanks and as much fuel as this bad boy can carry. I kind of debated about that, but I figured whatever that does slow me down, I'd rather have the extra fuel to be able to use afterburner as much as possible to be able to evade these SAMs. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and kick it off. So the first thing I was doing was just firing up a couple of the systems. Of course, I need the RWR on and the electronic countermeasures, and I always like to put my console lights on too, turn them up a little bit. Set my waypoint. There she is. So I've set it to waypoint 1. The only waypoint I have was kind of towards Turkey. And it's 263 nautical miles out. I have my electronic warfare page up. And I just left the standard map. You know what it is. So I left that up, just give me kind of an idea of some features along the ways. And what I do here is I give it some time for the electronic countermeasures to kind of fire up. I had done this run shortly before this, and I kind of made a mistake because as soon as I take off, there's some SAM sites just like right over the border, and I was in full afterburner. I was trying to climb to like 25,000, 30,000 feet, and they started firing off missiles at me, and I tried to evade them, and I thought I did evade them, and one of them got me. So it didn't last very long. I tried to do the same thing on this run through, but the one difference being I stayed outside of Syria to climb to try to stay in a quote-unquote safe space to get up to a certain amount of footage. My idea being was that I just wanted to focus on evading the SA2s, SA6s, and not worry about the lower altitude ones. I quickly figured out that I'm not going to have enough fuel to be able to evade those missiles and make it to the other end. So I went to kind of a plan B. The plan B was hug the mountains, use them as best I can, and minimize the amount of afterburners I have to use. So, my initial goal was I want to stay out in the open and just use my evasive abilities. The other side of that was I didn't want to use any. I did I wanted to try to not use as many flares, shades, or anything like that, dispense any countermeasures for as long as I could to conserve them. And after I got shot down the first time, pretty close, I went through a little bit of a mini panic because I'd never done this before, not with this number of SAM sites, and I thought, man. And so as soon as they started locking on me, I burned through those puppies like they weren't even there. Okay. So pretty soon I'll take off. In fact, I'm already starting to increase the RPMs. I'd like to get to about 80. Let it stabilize for a second. I'll have my brakes on. I'll fire it up in the full afterburner. It'll start to go, and then once I really start to hear it kick in, I let off the brakes. And at that point, I barely have to use any backseat. Pretty much it takes off on its own. I probably wouldn't have to use any, to be honest with you. I usually will put just a little bit of backstick just to get show on the road. So, if you can see this map right here, there, let me actually use my mouse pointer. See this body of water right here? There's where the SAM sites started. Last time I tried to rise up right into that. Tried to climb my elevation. This time I stuck over here, which was still in Israel, which is still kind of a quote-unquote safe space. So, if I were to do this over again, I don't think I would even climb. I burned through a lot of using afterburners, I burned through a lot of fuel, and I ended up hitting the deck pretty quickly anyways. So, in hindsight, I should have just stayed low. So you see, this is my electronic warfare page. And what you see over here is, these are radar signatures. This is basically saying these are detecting radar sites, and these are from the SAMs. And what will happen is, once one of these radar sites get a lock on me, you're going to start hearing it beeping. And then if they fire a missile, you're going to start to see the beeping get louder, and there'll be a line pointing towards me saying, this person's trying to give you a very bad day. Now, if you look over here, it says HUD. You click this button, and it'll display that info on your heads-up display, and you can see that right there. Those are SAM sites. Different things will signify different kinds of SAM sites. So if you see a 6, that means it's a SA6. If you see a S, that is going to be another. So on and so on. I don't want to get too technical. I'm not trying to make a tutorial, quite frank. A few people who watch this video probably don't know and don't care. I have thought about making some tutorials just because as I'm playing through, I get a lot of questions. I have to go to a lot of different sources to kind of find the answers, although there are some really, really good YouTube people out there. So if they ever happen to watch my video, which they probably won't, but if they do, Alan Sidewinder, Red Kite, and there's another one that's escaping my memory right now. But I think they make awesome videos, awesome content. The Grim Reapers group, there's some people that, some of the Facebook groups and whatnot, they kind of derogatory towards them. But I'll be honest, they're like the first set of videos I found, and it was actually kind of cool because the one guy doing them, he's kind of learning stuff through the process too. So in the videos, people are kind of telling him, giving him an idea of what to do. The only issue I ever found with Grim Reapers is, man, they can burn through information so quickly, and if you don't have a real good, strong fundamental knowledge of DCS of the F-18 Hornet, if that's your particular module, you're going to be kind of lost. And that's where I really like I said, Red Kite, Growling Sidewinder. Another one I'm forgetting right now. Of course, Matt Wagner. He's one of the, he works for the company. He has some good content. Again, though, sometimes with his videos, he's got such a strong knowledge of the system that, it can be kind of hard to follow sometimes. That's what it is. In particular, Growling Sidewinder, Red Kite. Whoever the third person is, I'll definitely give you a shout out in the comments. So all 10 people that watch my video know. So, what you hear right now, the fact is they've got, they got a radar lock on them. You can kind of see that screen. You see there's two of them, and one of them just fired. And so for me, at this point, I'm going to start hitting the deck. I'm going to start going in full, afterburner mode, and I am going to be evading. The important thing too is to never lose sight of it. When you lose sight of it, that's when you're in danger. If you know where it is, you know how to maneuver, and now right there it is. You can see it gaining on it very fast. So I'm trying to make it turn as much as possible. These missiles only have a finite amount of fuel. The more I can make it turn, the more I can make it climb, do anything like that, it's going to burn off that fuel, and eventually it won't be able to. See right there's another one coming at me. So I got two of them right now, so I got to be careful because I got to try to make both of them burn off the fuel. And now I got two more coming at me. So I got 4 SAM missiles coming at me right now. The important thing is I'm burning off their fuel, but I'm not losing speed. So trying to climb, especially sharply, it's going to be good if it slows me down. And I might burn off fuel for the one SAM, but the other one will come up and bang. So right here you see I'm trying to get closer and closer to the ground, but I'm also making a lot of turns. A lot of very quick and sudden turns. And that's forcing their missiles to adjust, burn fuel. And I'm also trying to get closer to these mountains. Mountains can obscure you from radar. And what I'm figuring out pretty quick is my desire was to stay a very open, high target. I've already burned through a ton of fuel. And I'm just now starting. And so I realized that I can't do that. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to use the environment to protect me as much as possible. If you could barely see, but over this shoulder right around here, there was 2 more SAMs being shot at. So as I'm evading one, there's 3 SAMs coming at me. 4 SAMs coming at me now. So I'm trying to evade from the one side, now I've got to try to evade from the other side. And there's more SAM sites over there, and as I'm evading away from these on my left, these are probably going to start firing at me. So at this point, kind of out of desperation, I just start maneuvering completely around because I got them coming from every single direction. So I figured, let's make them chase me. Let's get over here to these mountains, and I'll duck behind them. And just because that sound drops off, don't be fooled by that. My radar detection has blind spots. And that sound can drop off and they can still be right on my tail. And that's a big, easy mistake you can make sometimes, and that's what got me the first time. I lost the radar lock, and I got overconfident thinking I evaded it, and as soon as I stopped evasive maneuvers, it caught me and blew up my ship. they just fired more missiles at me. Just trying to give you a view of the side. So right there, I was like, go behind these mountains, get to safety, because you can see my fuel is even lower now. And I've still got 215 nautical miles to go, and there's no way I'm going to be able to keep evading these things out in the open. So, you can see the shadow of my plane right there. So right here, my main goal is to just hug this mountain, get a bit of a respite, and kind of formulate some kind of strategy here. You see this screen right here, and I'm well above where that lake is. So over around in here is going to be Beirut, and so in Lebanon there was no SAM sites placed there. And so I know that if I start to get super jammed up, I can duck over there. The one kind of rule I set for myself was I wasn't going to duck over into the water, no matter what. But right now I had to think strategically of if they start to, the only way I'll duck into what I consider the safe zones of like Lebanon or back in Israel is if they're actively chasing. So if I got SAM missiles coming at me, then I can do whatever it takes to evade them. Once the safety, here, you can see me checking the map right here, see where my progress is. But once I get to safety and everything lays out, I told myself I gotta get back into the danger zone more or less, to quote Kenny Loggins. I'm going to go to the map again, and you can see right here that I'm not avoiding it. You see all these SAM sites, and I'm staying well within danger range. So, you see the sheer number of SAM sites. My mouse is not moving. I can't figure this out. I can't move my mouse to, it's kind of stuck off screen. But if you see here, you can see all these SAM sites right there. Those are all radar signatures. They're all trying to shoot me out of the sky. And I'm trying to do my best to make them look like ridiculous fools. Improve my assertion that I'm the greatest pilot that's ever been, ever will be. Oh, wait a minute. Anyways, I screwed that up. It's supposed to be the greatest pilot there is, ever been, or ever will be. Right now I average about 6, maybe 10 people viewing it. I did have one video go up to like 200 views. If you are watching this and you don't know me personally, I'm just practicing making videos. And I'm not doing this like as a serious endeavor right now, but I would like to. And I would love if you subscribe, so you can kind of see my progress. Maybe even throw a comment or something, or like, it's not for the sake of monetary things. I'm not going to say some stupid jackass thing like smash that like button. any of that dumb stuff. So I'm not trying to make money. It'd just be nice if people could see it, give some feedback. It's raw. Heck, I'm still learning the game. I'm still learning how to do these YouTube videos. But I'm having a blast doing it. And I'd like to put more effort and more time into it. But I really want to, I really want people to be viewing it, seeing it. On that side, see, I got locked again. This one's coming from every which way. I'm going to quickly float over the map again, just so you can kind of see where I'm at. So right there, that's my progress. That's how far I've made it so far. So I'm about halfway through, because really the danger zone stops right here. So I've made it through the first half, and I'm going to be going into the second half. I don't, not to spoil anything, but I don't make it all the way through. It's not that I forget, but I'm not 100% sure what exactly point I made it to. I do know that they fired 36 missiles before they got me. So it took 36 to finally bring me down. You can see the smoke trail right there. They just fired that one. So he's coming towards me. And right now in my mind, I'm like, make it to the other side of this mountain. And then I realized I'm not going to make it to the other side of the mountain, so I decided to just cut over right here. And while it dropped, you can't see it because I'm too high up, but it's still there, trust me. And you hear it pop back in. So I thought maybe ducking behind there would stop it, and it's still on me. So I'm trying to get low and hoping it loses me, or loses its lock. And the lock is dropped, but
altitude.
Again,
altitude
doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'll take a quick view. So there's where I am right there. Still got quite a distance to go. My fuel is, well under now. Expended over half my fuel, and I haven't made it quite halfway there yet. But of course, just getting past that danger zone, that last little bit of delay isn't too bad. So at this point I was starting to think maybe I'll make it, but my issue is I'm still trying to conserve the amount of afterburner I'm using, just to conserve my fuel consumption. When you go into afterburner, it does consume fuel at a very fast rate. And so here I'm just hugging the ground and trying to not fly through any power lines. Really the thing here is about covering distance without couldn't go without them getting a radar lock. More importantly, even launching anything against me. The better off I am. They got me in sight today. And where am I? So I'm just now coming into the danger zone here in the second part. And also, I should have jettisoned my fuel tanks. I completely forgot to do that. You see, I'm only on internal fuel right now, and those fuel tanks are just extra drag at the moment. And who knows? Maybe I could have evaded the one that got me. Probably not, to be honest. Got me, I should have just started evading it earlier than what I did. I'm sorry. The one that got me, I should have had better situational awareness. I just started doing evasive maneuvers without having good situational awareness. And that's what got me. I think part of me got a little excited. I might actually make it through this other end. Instead of pay attention to where it is, I do a slow bank. Pause it real quick. I just want to just give you an idea of. So there I am. Nothing's been fired at me yet. And that gives you an idea of kind of this overlapping systems and kind of what I'm up against. So. One fire at me. And I'm trying to remember which is the one that actually got me. Got much farther. I was hugging the one side too close, suffice to say. And right here I should have been more aggressive with my basic maneuvers. I was too late. Now I'm starting to pull it. But again, I was trying to avoid using my afterburners, and that's the one that got me. So it's just too late, and there was only so much I could probably do at that point, because it was either try to conserve my afterburners or not make it there. But I think had I dropped the fuel tanks when I went to internal fuel, That'd have been less drag. I would have expended less fuel. Could have maneuvered a little better. And I should have been a little more conservative with my flares and stuff and save those for when I am low fuel with the flares and the shaft. So you can kind of see here. I just want to tell you, like, let's go to shot. This will show you, these are all the SAM missiles shot at me. So there they are. So, and we'll see event hit. There's the one that got me, an SA-2. So, the SA-2. Let's see, initiator. So all the hits, or all the shots, the SA-2 finally got them. And so several SA-2s have been fired, but it took that last one. So there she was. So lessons learned. I think the biggest lesson learned is your fuel consumption. If you don't have fuel, you're not going to be able to evade. Your evasive maneuvers are going to be really dependent upon you being able to keep a high speed. And so you're going to have a hard time keeping a high speed if you can't manage your fuel. Second part would be use your environment as much as possible to put it, between you and the radars, and just maintain situational awareness. If you know where the missile's coming from, you can evade it. If you don't know where it's coming from, you can turn right into it if you're not paying attention. So I think that's the most important takeaway from doing this, because especially with these older systems, right? And this is based on 2010. Of course, I'm flying an F-18c Hornet, so it's an older plane, right? In fact, the U.S. Navy's phased them out and went to the Super Hornet, or the F-35, and the U.S. Marines do still use this Hornet, obviously. Not obviously, but they do still use it. So it's not like it's an obsolete plane. But, I went up against the S-300. They don't have the S-400 model in this game, which is the most recent Russian system. But the same principle applies. That some might be able to detect at a longer range, but all the same things apply to it. And that's really about burning off their fuel systems. It's tough, especially where I had them coming from every single direction, and that's a little bit harder to do. But anyways, it was definitely entertaining. So that's all. Hope everyone has a great evening. I'm gonna go have some scotch.